Well, every painting has to start with something. For me, it's always with people. A painting needs a way into it, a sort of open door. When I paint someone, whatever I imagine they're like as a person, that all becomes tangled up in the reality of what they're like in paint.
I'm interested in people working, where they work, their tools. The past couple of years have been in factories, oil fields, a copper mine, a cattle ranch in Montana. I feel like I've been almost everywhere.
I have visited sites all around the country, a sort of documentary approach to the source material for my pictures. Sometimes I get a sense for a painting right away. Sometimes it doesn't come together until I'm back in the studio. Ford's River Rouge plant is one of the oldest assembly lines in Detroit. They're making Mustangs at the Rouge now, but most of the time you'd never know it. All you see is metal and sparks and people. They all merge together. When you finally see the car assembled, it's kind of startling. Charles Sheeler and Diego Rivera both painted the Rouge in the 30s. Sheeler went for the abstract beauty. Rivera made a social statement. The feeling I got was more textural, a texture of figures, machines, compressed space. Most of my pictures are big. The key figures have got to be larger dimensionally than real people. What I'm after is a picture that has the visual richness of abstraction and also remains linked to the traditions of realism. I want the image to stay on the surface visually. I want the size and placement of the elements to refer to depth without creating an illusion to space. This is not a box of air. I like making my own paints. That way I can control the texture and the consistency. It allows for so many more possibilities than paint out of a tube. This is really a process of layering with many stages. The painting goes up and down. It's moved around a lot. Sometimes I feel as if I'm holding my own aerobics class in the studio. Early on, the shapes are made by masking areas off with tape. I really like the limits I run into by drawing with tape rather than a brush. It creates relationships that are abstract rather than literal. And I like the hard edge. It has a sort of mechanical look, and there's an optical effect, a flickering light. I want the image to be embedded in the canvas, built up one element over another. I like that here and there, the deepest layer, the paint that actually went on first, refers to something in the foreground. I like that tension. One of my paintings, Seven Livestock, is of a cattle ranch in western Montana, out there in what they call Big Sky country. Actually, the sky was a problem. It kept turning the studies into scenes out of a Marlboro ad. It wasn't like that there. Most of these cowboys wore baseball caps, not cowboy hats. When I got to making the painting, I didn't have a big sky, but I had a big painting, almost 16 feet long. What I wanted to convey was the movement of the cattle and the sentry-like calm of the riders. Those cows are pretty confused. They're panicky. When your world is controlling the cattle, you see the browns of the dirt and the animals. It was dark at Manhattan Transit, too. But instead of cows, it was taxi cabs, and the cabs almost gave off light. That yellow paint, that was given to me by Dennis, the auto body guy, the real taxi yellow enamel. I like to bring some of the place into the painting. In this case, the drivers actually drove the cabs over the raw canvas. I've been painting all my life. I actually think stamina is a factor. You've got to put the time and energy into it, just like anyone else. Maybe that's why I identify with the people I paint. It's a job. But I think you've got to love it, and I do. I enjoy meeting the people, being in the places they work. When I paint someone, it's as if they become part of a special extended family that's all mine. Will Rogers' famous quote, "I've never met a person I didn't like." Well, I've never met a person I didn't want to paint.